When you have been doing all the good habits, there will come a time when everything just clicks. I believe this is called a flow state. Here's how I managed to achieve it. If you're new here, my name is Prem and I am currently doing the Couch to 5K journey. This run I'm documenting right as I speak will be run 24. So let's dive straight into it. So if you've been following my runs recently, you will have perhaps seen my last run, in which I planned to run for 20 minutes and it was a total disaster. Today's run was very different, and I'm going to talk to you about what exactly I did different and why it was so contrasting to the run I had just done a few days ago. So, the mindset I had for this run was to not think too much about all the good things you can do to improve your running experience and your form and your breathing and your shins and your feet. I tried not to think too much about any of it. Of course, all those things in combination can make you a better runner, but I wasn't consciously obsessing over them and microanalyzing every little bit that could make my run better. What I did instead was kind of cleared my mind, kind of in like a meditative practice, and just tried not to think about anything other than putting one foot in front of the other. When I started out on the run, it was particularly hard. My legs felt kind of heavy. It's almost like when you warm up to something, your body's kind of rigid. You need to like give it time to warm up before it can really start and get strike into action. And the first 5 minutes, I'll tell you, it just felt awful. It's like I felt kind of very heavy on my feet. I wasn't really feeling it at the time, and I don't know, something just didn't feel right. And I think that's just um, how my body was kind of adapting to the activity. It was quite cold in the morning. That may have played a factor. I just wasn't really feeling up to it before I'd actually done the run. And I just persisted anyway because I'd set out, I had a mission I was going to run, and I did. And that first 5 minutes is often the toughest part of the runs because mentally your mind may be drifting away and you may be thinking about what you're going to do for the rest of the day, or maybe thinking about what you're going to have for breakfast. And I tried not to think about any of those things and just get through that first 5 minutes because that is often the toughest bit. And after I got past that first 5 minutes, I always used to have this limiting belief in my runs. Like if my shins felt kind of heavy or my legs were kind of heavy to start, I always kind of had this impending doom that the rest of the run wouldn't be great because eventually there'd be a point where my shins would just start to hurt and be very painful. But that wasn't the case this time round. As I started to let my thoughts go and just drift away and just focus on putting one foot in front of the other, the run actually got progressively easier. And I stopped obsessing about all these different things you can do to improve your running. All I did was just put one foot in front of the other. And I wasn't microanalyzing every single thing you could do to improve. I was just kind of in the zone. I wasn't thinking about all these other things. I was just thinking about running and not stopping until I hear that 20-minute mark. And to put into words what this feeling felt like, I believe it's called a flow state. And I don't think I've ever experienced this before on my runs because it's been mainly in a learning and growing kind of phase where I've been kind of going one step at a time, slowly increasing the amount I'm running for, and I've been making little improvements, thinking about what I can do slightly differently, and then I've been stacking those improvements on top of each other, and each of these have made me a better runner over time. But I feel like this run today was when that learning and improving turned into momentum, and this momentum felt like I could run and keep running and keep running. And by the time I reached the 20-minute mark, I was kind of disappointed. I felt like I could have run for longer. As I progressively got towards the end of the run, I felt confident enough to actually speed up, which is something I don't think I've done in the program so far. When I get towards the end of my runs, I kind of just coast and just make sure I get to the end, but I kind of stay in my comfort zone. But this time, I was like, you know what? I don't care. I'm just going to go and keep running and speed up because there's only like a minute or two left. I might as well give it everything I've got. So I just went straight in there and just sped up and almost felt like a runner. Like, you know, when you like watch the Olympics and you see like the athletes on the running track going around in circles, I felt like that when I was running for like the last 2 minutes. I sped up and I felt like what's that guy's name? I'm trying to think of that guy. The guy he does that on the. I've seen it in the Olympics. I can't think of his name. I think no, it's Mo Farah. Mo Farah, yeah, Mo Farah. Yeah, I felt like him on my runs. You know, like when he's in the Olympics and he's running around that athletics track, athletics track, and he's like fully cruising and he's like beating everyone and he's like at the front of the race. That's how I felt, and that feeling really good. That's what I felt like. This flow state, that was really a really good feeling to have, and I wish that everyone watching this, if you're someone who's into running, that you feel this at some point as well, because this is absolutely something worth running for. Not to mention the other benefits like it, it improves your mental health, cardiovascular endurance, loads of other benefits. But this one is one of the best feelings to have. A flow state is really good feeling. The feeling when everything just clicks and you kind of feel like nothing can stop you from running. That feeling is brilliant. It's great. And if you haven't felt it yet, keep going on your runs because there will come a day when everything just clicks, like, and all of a sudden, all those struggles and trials and tribulations you faced, they all kind of go away, and you get to a stage where you're in this momentum phase, and you get to a stage where nothing can stop you. If there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, it is that when you've been doing all the good habits, there will come a moment when you feel unstoppable. And I believe that is called a flow state. And in the context of running, I did a little bit of research to try and like explain this feeling I had. And I came to the resolution that this feeling is actually a real thing. And it's called a runner's high. And I will leave a description of what it looks like somewhere on the screen. And that will just briefly explain what it is and how I felt it today. I ran for 20 minutes, and after the first 5 minute portion of that 20, the rest of the 15 felt an absolute breeze. There wasn't one point in which I felt like stopping, or I was super tired or super fatigued, or it felt difficult. That did not happen on this run. And if you've been doing the good habits and you clear your mind on your runs and you just focus on putting one foot in front of the other, there will come a moment when everything clicks. And when everything does click, your runs will feel so much better. And I really hope that on my upcoming runs, I really feel this feeling again because it feels a little bit euphoric. And I really want to feel this feeling again because it's really great. I feel unstoppable. And it's a little bit like, I don't know. If you've ever had a pre-workout, if you go to the gym, you may have heard of pre-workout. It's like this thing you take before you work out, and you really feel alive and you feel like aggressive and really feel like you're about to push and go really hard. I kind of felt like I had that feeling. Like I felt so amped up and like felt like nothing could stop me, and I just wanted to just keep going, keep going. That feeling is absolutely worth running for. And if you haven't felt it so far, keep doing the good habits, stay consistent, and once you get to a stage where you can start to run for slightly longer periods of time, perhaps maybe 15, 20 minutes, I believe there will become a point where you feel it for the first time and it's absolutely worth it. Not just running in general is a sort of good habit to have, or just exercise in general, but just the feeling you get is, is very, very good. It's a feeling to have. And I will leave it there. I will leave what the run looked like just there, and I will see you in the next run.